Hello, what's up? With the start of the new year, 2026, I wanted to make a video about the media I enjoyed from this previous year, 2025. So I want to go through all of them. Games, books, movies, series, I guess also anime. I will probably put anime movies with movies and anime series with series, but just want to talk about all of them in general. Series, movies, and games have been a part of my life pretty much forever since I was a child, but books are a more recent thing that I started exploring. About 1.5 years ago, I started reading some books, and in 2025, I've read more books than in my whole life before that. Although not all of the media will be from 2025, it will be just the media that I experienced in 2025. I think all of them are going to be for the first time. I'll be giving you 3 to maybe 5 favorites, or I guess not all of them are going to be favorites. Some of them are going to be the media I want to talk about the most. But without further ado, let's get into them. I will be starting with series, since the most recent thing I have watched was a series, the finale to one of the lesser known series, this one. This season is a complete fucking mess. There is a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of plot holes, a lot of things they didn't really plan all that well and don't connect with the first couple of seasons. So yeah, a very messy season. So let's start at the beginning of the last season. It started kinda unexpectedly, I think, where most of the people would have expected it to start with explosions and a big bang. It started very calm. They just put a band-aid over the problems they created in the end of the previous season, where the ground erupted, the portal opened up to whatever it is, and now they're just like chilling, I guess. And I could go through all of the bad writing, inconsistencies, and mistakes they made, but I don't think that's a good way to go through this. I will just mention some of them I remember, but there are so many of them, I don't think I could do every one of them, even if I wanted to. So the first thing I want to talk about is that breakup scene. That breakup scene is probably the worst breakup scene in history of cinema, and I think maybe even in human history. I didn't even realize that it was a breakup scene until I went online after the episode and I read the comments, and I think that is a very bad sign. They also brought back Eleven's sister, 8, or whatever her name is, from the absolutely worst episode from the second season, or I guess in general from the show. And she is worse than ever. I think that is one of the worst characters they made. They have so many interesting side characters, but this one is just absolute garbage. I don't think that character was necessary at all in this show. Every time she was on screen, I just rooted for her to die, and fortunately she actually did at the end. Next thing, 11. That lip filler was absolutely terrible and so distracting for me. I could not take my eyes off of her whenever she was on screen, and she was always looking like this. Like 11, the character is supposed to be 14, maybe 15 in this last season, and it was just so distracting. She also had like zero emotional range. She could not express her emotions, which did not work well at all. And also, why were there no Demogorgons bats or Demodogs in the big fight at the end? Why is no one ever in a hurry? Why can Nancy fight the whole ass army? There is so many dumb decisions. Like if you look at the first season, second season, they were so grounded compared to the later seasons. It's kind of crazy, the difference. And the last thing I want to talk about is, well, the last thing, the ending. I don't really have much to say about it. In the last season, absolutely no one dies besides the big bad and 11's sister. It is just a super plain old happy ending, besides Mike, who doesn't really get his perfect ending, even though 11 is still alive, I guess, at the end, or whatever happened. I heard people comparing it to how bad the ending of Game of Thrones was, and I don't think it's even close to the same level of shittiness as the shittiness of the Game of Thrones ending, but it was not a good ending at all. Still, there were enjoyable parts in this show. I think this last season, the newest season, looked the best out of every season. The monsters, the CGI looked amazing. And since the show has a lot of great characters, even some new side characters they introduced in this show, it is always fun watching the show. Just if you think about it a little bit, it is a disaster. I think this show is all about the journey, not really the destination. If you think about it in that way, it's not a bad show in general, just not perfect, especially the ending. So yeah, I started with one of them that was not one of my favorites, so now let's go on to some of my favorites. Then we have our second show, Tales from the Loop. This is not a new show, but it is a show that is pretty unknown, at least I think it is. If I didn't get it recommended to me, I probably would never have heard of it, even though it's very much the kind of stuff that I usually enjoy, that being science fiction and especially like more creative science fiction stories. It is a collection of 8 episodes, all about different characters from the same place. You will see some of the connecting characters and things, but they are mostly all independent from each other. All of the stories have some kind of science fiction twist, and all of the twists are very unique and memorable. If this all sounds interesting to you, go check it out. Anything else I say would be like a spoiler, so I don't think it's worth saying much more. But I will mention 2 of my favorite stories. The first one is, I think, one of the more memorable episodes to anyone who watched this show. It is the body switching one. I think it's the 3rd episode in the show. And the second one is maybe one of the episodes that not everyone will like as much as I did, but it is the 5th one, the one where grandfather learns that he's about to die. But yeah, a very underrated show, go check it out. Now let's go on to the next one. The next one is another collection of stories. This one's story is completely independent and in the animated form. They are all from the creator of Chainsaw Man, Tatsuki Fujimoto, and the show is also called Tatsuki Fujimoto 17 to 26. It is a collection of, again, 8 episodes made out of his short stories he made from the age of 17 to 26. Let me warn you, he's a bit of a pervert and a bit of a weirdo, and we all love him for it, but you should know this before going into it. If you're familiar with Chainsaw Man, that is one of his tamest works, so just have that in mind. Here you will see a guy catching a bullet because he doesn't want his teacher to have sex, 2 humans pretending to be chicken because aliens have taken over the earth and they love eating humans, but they don't really care much about chicken, and so on. This is just a taste of it. He has a weird mind, but if you are open for that, no better place to start than with Tatsuki Fujimoto. And with the last show that I want to recommend to you and talk to you about, we go to South Korea. The name of the show is My Name, and it is a revenge story about a girl whose father is a part of the Korean mafia. She has a shitty life because of that fact, everyone knows it. He is a wanted man, and so no one wants to be friends with her. Some other students even bully her, even though to me it doesn't really make sense. Why would you want to bully someone whose father is a part of the mafia? But regardless. She doesn't even see her father anymore because he's in hiding. Just all in all, having a bad time. So on a call with him, she tells him that she doesn't want to see him anymore. He then realizes how shitty of a father he has been until now and goes over to see her. And that is when the killer strikes and she gets to listen to her father being killed just on the other side of the door. She then enters the crime world, joining the same organization her father was a part of in order to find the killer and avenge her father. This all happens basically in the first 10 minutes of the first episode, so no big spoilers here, don't worry about it. In reality, it's a pretty simple revenge story showing how much revenge and dedicating your life to it can cost you. Reminds me a little bit of The Last of Us 2, but where I didn't like The Last of Us 2, like the story, how they executed it, I did like My Name's story. The series has a great cast, looks great, and the action is also nice. Anyone searching for another appreciated action series should check this one out. But now on to the movies. I was debating myself, should I start with the best one or should I end with it? And I decided that I will end with it. But let's start with the first one. So, Re:ZeArc, what an absolute banger. Another one from Tatsuki Fujimoto. He, I guess, never misses. This is the first media, the first thing that has two adaptations, this one movie and manga, that I have both read and watched. I usually avoid media that I already experienced in another way, so this was the first one and it was special. When the colored bomb started exploding up on the screen, so did I, man. The action is just the bomb, pun intended. Movie looks and sounds amazing, it's just a spectacle. And that pool scene is just beautiful. If you watch the movie, there is no way you don't know what I'm talking about. It's just one of the most enjoyable movies I've had the pleasure of watching in a while. The romance part is great, and then when the action hits, it does not stop until the end, and it is just amazing. Looking forward to seeing people go crazy over the end of the part 1 of the manga. But yeah, let's go on to the next one. I maybe watched this movie when I was a child, but I'm not sure. It may not have been my first time watching it. I remember playing the game, the Surf's Up game, and I remember really liking it when I was a kid, so I decided to check if the movie is actually good, and it absolutely is. It's an absolute banger. The first thing I noticed was the humor. Anyone who watched The Office will notice the same thing I did, I think. It is filmed as a documentary, which makes it feel just like another episode of The Office even more. And at some point, I feel like they just animated the characters accidentally and ended up cutting the episode for some reason from the show. Immediately after finishing the movie, I remember checking out when it came out, and it came out in 2007, which was 2 years after the first season of The Office. So I'm not saying that it's confirmed, I may be completely wrong, but I can definitely see it being like this. The movie is full of heart and the jokes are great, animation is also amazing. It is about a penguin trying to become a surfer because of his hero, the Big Z. He then meets his new best friend, a chicken, and they are on their way to the biggest surfer tournament in the world and on their way to become the best surfers. I won't tell you more than that, go watch the movie. I think it is one of the most underrated animated movies there is. This next one is technically not a single movie. Hell, it's not even 2 movies, even though I only watched 2 movies from this guy. It is about Satoshi Kon in general. You know, most of the movies on this list are animated, but hey, I watched some amazing ones this year. It is what it is. Satoshi Kon is already very famous, no need for me to jerk him off again, yet I definitely will. None of his works are straightforward, and they all have something to say, and they say it in a way that if anyone else tried to do it, they would never turn out the same. And from what I've heard about him, that is pretty much what he wanted, to inspire people to be creative. The 2 movies of his I watched this year, Perfect Blue and Millennium Actress, are very different, but they touch on the same subject, being obsessed with someone. In Perfect Blue, he showed how it can be a negative thing, while in Millennium Actress, he showed it in a more positive way, how it can actually inspire. This is far from the only topic he explores in these movies, but it is the similarity between these two, and I thought it was interesting. His work asks a bunch of questions and often leaves you to answer them. Again, no spoilers, go watch his stuff, it is art. Since I was a kid, I've always been into detective stories and murder mysteries. It's a bit of a weird thing, especially with stories like this that are inspired by true events. Regardless, I didn't expect much from this movie. I have watched a decent amount of South Korean movies by now, and I liked pretty much all of them. Still, I didn't expect it to become one of my favorites. The story is set in the 80s South Korean countryside, where we follow mainly two small town detectives who are later joined by a big city detective from Seoul. I will try to spoil as little as possible since I want everyone to experience this movie. They work on this big serial killer case where all of the victims are killed in a specific way, and it's really focused more on showing how investigations worked at the time with the lack of modern technology and knowledge of today, also showing you how frustrating and heavy the job can be. It's just a masterpiece, I cannot recommend it enough. So these are all movie and series recommendations that I experienced in 2025 and wanted to talk about. Maybe I will make this a regular thing where I talk about the things I watched the previous month and just yap about them. I would really enjoy doing that. But yeah, tell me if you find some new series or movie that you enjoy. If you didn't, maybe give me some of your recommendations. We still have games and books to go. That will be in the next episode.